There's a lot of sophisticated technology packed into a Joy-Con, a lot that hardly if ever gets used. It's also what drives up the price, alongside of the Nintendo tax, of course. Look, I understand that Joy-Con are expensive. An $80 MSRP is a lot. This whole price gouging situation spawned this whole weird knockoff Joy-Con market. But is shaving a few bucks off the price really worth the dip in quality, especially when there are much better options out there? You don't have to scroll to the end of the video. None of these are good. I don't really know the purpose of knockoff Joy-Con. The Switch already comes with 2 Joy-Cons attached, so maybe it's for a second player? But if they're not gonna be attached to the console, why even get a Joy-Con at all? Why not get any of the other plethora of great aftermarket controllers, like for example, the SN30 Pro, the wireless Hori Pad, the PowerA Enhanced controller, the Afterglow controller. Or if you want to go wired, there's even more cheaper options out there. Okay, maybe you lost your Joy-Con, in which case you should probably just get another Nintendo one. You're gonna probably want a decent pair of Joy-Con attached to your console for playing in portable mode. The only scenario that makes sense for wanting a bunch of cheap Joy-Con is Mario Party. In which case, maybe I could suggest to you any of the other plethora of great party games on the Switch. No? Okay, well then you deserve this life. All of these controllers have a bunch of listings on Amazon. They're most likely all purchased from Alibaba and then drop shipped by different people under different company names. That's why you'll see what looks like the same controller under a bunch of different listings under a bunch of different company names, even sponsored by Amazon. That's because they are the same controller. So I tried to get as many different types of these controllers as possible to widen the sample size. None of these controllers have HD rumble or NFC or IR sensors, which is funny because 2 of these controllers have IR sensor windows at the bottom. I would say that they're just trying to mimic the Joy-Con as much as possible, but these are ovals. So nice try there, buddy. These missing features make these controllers significantly cheaper, sure, but it also means that they're not gonna work with certain games like 1-2 Switch, or Labo, or Ring Fit Adventure. The controllers all have regular rumble, which is fine in most cases. Most games don't use HD rumble anyway. Okay. It might be a problem for you Mario Party people out there, though. There are some mini games in Mario Party that require HD rumble. Sorry to burst your bubble there. Should just play Duck Game. Also, all of these controllers are $40, except for the Oivo pair, which is $55. They also just so happen to be the ones that look the closest to actual Nintendo Joy-Con. And all of these controllers can be found on Amazon at the links in the description below if you really hate yourself and want to help support the channel. Thanks for hating yourself. Almost all of these controllers can attach themselves to the Switch, which is what makes them a Joy-Con. That's pretty cool considering I thought this was a mechanism that was going to be monopolized by Nintendo. It's also the easiest way to pair these controllers. A lot of third-party controllers are a huge pain in the ass to pair. Sure, it might work fine most of the time, but there's always that 1 in 10 time where it just doesn't work at all and I just want to die. The slotting third-party controllers are a little bit scary though, because they do draw power from the Switch. I don't think anything bad's gonna happen, but I also don't not think that. And none of these controllers feel as satisfying to slot in as the OG Nintendo Joy-Con. There's some manufacturer variance in the size of the mechanism and the cheap plastic used. Sometimes you gotta really force it in there, but this is one of the compromises for being cheap. The only pair here that doesn't slot into your Switch are the Nyko Dualies. They also are the absolute ugliest. I barely even count these as knockoff Joy-Con. Nyko is a reputable third-party company, aside from bricking a whole bunch of Switches about 2 years ago. So these aren't like those other Alibaba garbageware devices. There was actual R&D involved in making these, which somehow makes it worse. Since you can't dock them, you also can't use a grip. They charge over USB-C. It only comes with 1 USB-C cable, so I guess they expect you to take turns charging them? But you probably have an extra one lying around, so whatever. These are also huge. and not very comfortable. If it looks plasticky, that's because it is. The clear plastic housing was a cool idea, but it's very prone to fingerprints. These controllers are an abomination. But it's responsive, I guess. It wasn't too hard to pair, just had to mash L and R like any other Joy-Con, after a full charge, of course. It has a turbo button, but after hitting that, the game yelled at me about accessing amiibo functions, so I'm just gonna ignore this feature altogether. It's not very useful to me anyway. I'm sure these controllers will be on sale for almost nothing very soon. The Oivo controllers are the ones that look the closest to actual Switch Joy-Con. The colors are very, very close, just ever so slightly darker. It's only really apparent in the red Joy-Con. I don't know if this video is gonna do it justice. This is the only Joy-Con I got that comes with the wrist strap attachments, which I guess kind of justifies the increased price, but who uses those anyway? I don't even know where mine are. These wrist straps are way bigger than the Nintendo ones and make it kind of uncomfortable. Without them, they feel pretty much exactly like Nintendo Joy-Con, just cheaper. They feel pretty good in portable mode, which shouldn't be a surprise because they're modeled after normal Joy-Con. The D-pad is a PlayStation-style D-pad, and it's not too bad. Feels pretty good. These would almost be worth the extra few bucks that you save, but they know that they're better than the other cheap knockoffs, so they charge a premium over them. You're probably still better off just getting regular Nintendo Joy-Cons on sale. The Jalde Joy-Con have little ergonomic grips molded to them, which we've seen before in stuff like the Hori split pad, but the difference is that these Joy-Con are wireless, and they even come with a little grip attachment, so you can use it like a Joy-Con grip. This is pretty comfortable. Using them in split wireless mode is very uncomfortable. These won't really work separately either. So if you were expecting to use them individually, you can forget it. The grips probably work the best in handheld mode or in grip mode, but if you're gonna use them in the grip, at that point, why not just get an actual controller for the same price? Again, you can't use them individually, so what's the point? The buttons are real squishy, which is a big negative for me. I see what they were trying to do here, but there are better options for grip mode, handheld mode, and split Joy-Con mode, and its versatility doesn't really cut it. It also can't be used in tabletop mode at all with these Joy-Con attached, unless you want it to stand straight up. There's also the Mayfan elliptical ones. I really want to say ovular, but that's not the word. These are pretty vanilla. The buttons are a little plasticky, but no surprise there. I think I just don't like the design of the buttons. It's extra cheap looking. There's a bump on the back for extra grip support, which is kind of cool. It just means it won't fit in a Joy-Con grip. They actually feel pretty comfortable in portable mode, and the D-pad is pretty solid, and the thumbsticks are identical to the OEM Joy-Con. I actually don't hate these. The colors are actually slightly lighter than the original Joy-Con. It's interesting to see the different ways these companies try to achieve the signature color scheme. Maybe you don't want that classic Nintendo Switch color scheme. Maybe you're one of those people that's mad that Nintendo hasn't capitalized on making like retro-styled Joy-Con. Well, lucky you, because you can get these SNES Joy-Con made by Kinvoca. You gotta love these company names. These remind me a lot of the GameCube Joy-Con that I made a video on in the past. The molds are identical, it's just the buttons that are different. I'd guess that they are the same manufacturer, even though they're from two different companies. I'm hard air quoting. The rumble is horrible, turn that shit right off. The SNES design isn't the prettiest. It was a nice attempt. Also, why not just use the D-pad like you had from the GameCube design? You have the capability. Another funny little detail, the face buttons have the same exact font as the elliptical Joy-Con, which are also from a different company. A third one. These controllers, the elliptical ones, and the grip ones all have options to charge them with a USB cable. In some cases, these are for firmware updates. They make a special note that you should not, under any circumstances, plug a USB cable into the controller while it's attached to the system. I could only imagine the catastrophe that this would cause. I love my Switch way too much to test this out. I also don't want to spend $300 on another Switch, just for this. Surprisingly, all of the thumbsticks were accurately calibrated on all of these, and the motion controls all felt just fine. So even though these knockoff Joy-Con are cheap feeling, they splurged on quality where it counts. So I'll at least commend them for that. I really just think that the popularity of the name Joy-Con makes people think that they need Joy-Con in order to play, or that these are the only controllers that you can get for the Switch. So these companies are just capitalizing on Nintendo's brand awareness. I personally almost never use my Joy-Con, only in portable mode, and even if I'm playing in portable mode, it's most likely on my Switch Lite. There's very few reasons to get additional Joy-Con, and even fewer reasons to get one of these cheaper solutions. $40 is half the MSRP of a Nintendo Joy-Con, which is significant, but Joy-Con usually go for around $60 to $70 depending on the color, and you can almost always find them on sale. As a replacement for the OEM Joy-Con, I'd say that all of these are pretty much a no-go. If you absolutely need a bunch of Joy-Con, maybe you've got a bunch of kids that want to play an 8-player game for whatever reason, then the Oivo one is okay, and the Mayfan elliptical one is pretty decent too. I still wanted to say ovular. And the Mayfan ones are slightly cheaper too. I just am having a hard time thinking of a game where you wouldn't just be better off getting actual controllers, like a bunch of cheap 8-bit Do controllers or a bunch of PowerA enhanced wireless controllers instead. Mario Party's only 4 players and you need HD Rumble for some of the mini games. And Mario Kart is 8 players, but you'd be much better off with actual controllers. I'm just making this video because I'm more interested in the market. Who are these for? Who's buying these? And why are there so many being sold by all of these weird drop shipping companies? They're probably skirting around some serious licensing issues. So anyway, what do you guys think about these cheap knockoff Joy-Con? Is there even a scenario where these would be worth it? Is there something that I'm not thinking of, or is it just, are these just all worthless? Like, let's say you run a daycare and you got a Switch. Why wouldn't you just load them up with 8-bit Do controllers? They're cheaper. Anyway, leave in the comments below, at me on Twitter, and any and all this other social media garbage. Hey, we got new videos all the time. Our schedule is usually in a pin tweet over on our Twitter. And we got Wulff Live, our live podcast, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where you can talk to us. We also got streams on twitch.tv/WulffDay. You might want to hit the bell over there so you know when we go live. And also, if you support us here on YouTube by clicking that join button, or over on Twitch by clicking the subscribe button, which is free if you have Amazon. You link those accounts to your Discord account, and you get into our support-only Discord where you get videos like this one early. You get private chat time with us, and you get to play multiplayer games with us, usually once a month. But of course, the most important thing that you can do and the easiest is just subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you get new videos, because you can't rely on YouTube for that. And share this video with a friend who maybe doesn't have a lot of controllers and needs some new ones. You can warn them about the ones not to get, and there's some good solutions here, like maybe just get an actual controller. Thank you guys very much. Have yourselves a very good week. I love you platonically.